We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. Where every worker has the freedom to join a union. Where every person has affordable health care. So all of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
And that is Vice President Kamala Harris focusing on the economy while campaigning in Milwaukee yesterday. The Wall Street Journal editorial out with this. In her campaign debut, Kamala Harris steers left. The implicit message of her first big campaign rally, swing voters, who needs them? Here are some of Harris's views on the economy. She's in favor of Medicare for all, universal basic income, increasing taxes, and banning fracking. Joining me now is Texas Congressman Jodey Arrington. He's the chairman of the House Budget Committee and also a member of the House Ways and Means and Joint Economic Committees. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Chairman. We appreciate your time. You know, I was just saying to the team here, I don't know much about Kamala Harris and how she would deal with the economy. I know she likes Venn diagrams. I know she likes electric school buses, but she hasn't really said much until this week about the economy. Do you?
Well, yeah, I know her because I think she's had the greatest influence over the economic agenda, the failed economic agenda of this administration. I'm not sure how long President Biden has been incapacitated, but I think he was a person that was obsessed with placating the left. Here's the issue with Kamala Harris, and people should take this to heart. She is the left. She's to the left of Bernie Sanders, according to nonpartisan scorekeepers in terms of her legislation. She was all in on the Green New Deal. She's all in for government control of your health care. She's made comments about controlling how much red meat we take in as American consumers. Look, the $7 trillion in deficit spending and the paying people not to work and the assault on the lifeblood of our economy, our energy producers and domestic energy, has created a cost of living crisis, the likes of which we have not experienced since Jimmy Carter, and it's sticking, and interest rates are high as a result. Nobody can afford a home, a car. These are the things that come from her leftist views of government control and central planning, as opposed to of economic freedom, which leads to prosperity. So I think we know a lot more about her economic platform than I think most people think.
Well, I mean, there's the border issue, which is certainly front and center, given that she was the border czar. Former President Trump hit Kamala Harris over the border, blaming her for the increase of migrant crime in the country, pointing out that she never even spoke to the head of Border Patrol. Trump says he plans to visit the border at least 3 more times before the election. New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who's been critical of Biden's border policies, says Harris's strategy on the border could be coming soon after he claims he had, quote, indirect talks with her team. Indirect talks with her team. We've already seen a preview of what her strategy could look like. Watch this.
Abolish ICE.
Yeah.
Is that a position that you agree with?
Listen, I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
You support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period.
Well, Mr. Chairman, how do we pay for all of that? Walk us through what you just heard there and your assessments.
Well, I hearken back to what I heard growing up. When somebody tells you who they are, you should believe them. And as a Democrat candidate for president at one time, she was the first to raise her hand to say we should decriminalize illegal crossing. She said that we should abolish ICE. We should give illegal immigrants free health care, free to them, not to the American taxpayer. And by the way, she's accomplished that as border czar. She has de facto abolished ICE and the Border Patrol with this open border policy, hamstringing them to do their job, the catch and release mentality of this administration. They have provided the health care at tens of billions of dollars to people who aren't citizens of this country, when we can't even afford to pay Medicare and Social Security and the entitlements that we have for our own citizens. So she's been a disaster. She was clearly the point person as the borders are. She owns that. She should be accountable for the fact that she visited once or twice. She never went to the epicenter of the crisis in the Rio Grande Valley. She didn't meet with the border chiefs, the current border chief she hasn't met with. Look, this is what she believes. She believed it before she ran for president. When she ran the first time, she still believes it. Again, Joe Biden was a placater and appeaser in chief of the left. She is the left. And I think that should make everybody worried about the future of our country as the Democrat candidate.
And she's saying it right there. I mean, she just said it in her first event. Every worker has the freedom to join a union. Every person has affordable health care, affordable child care, paid family leave. Every senior retires with dignity. She wants the government to pay for it all. The Journal writes, the promise is that Uncle Sam will deliver it all, but that means much higher taxes for the rest of us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Listen, it's tens of trillions of dollars for the green new disaster, not to mention they would destroy our energy economy and turn us into a third world country. It's $30+ trillion for this single payer system, government controlling our health care, controlling the means of production, and redistributing wealth is socialism. She's full-fledged socialist.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can pay for it. We're already $35 trillion in debt, and she wants to double down on the spending and the taxing and the regulating of the first 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration. She would destroy the greatest economy in the world that underpins our quality of life and the prosperity for our children. Big time disaster. I think the American people are pretty clued in on it, quite frankly.
Who do you think her running mate will be, Mr. Chairman?
You know what? I don't know. She's probably going to try to do what she did in the speeches that you just played, to sort of to reimagine what Kamala Harris would be if she wasn't a California leftist. So she's going to have to go the opposite direction. But again, she has to own the disastrous policies and the consequences of the last 4 years.
Yeah.
There's no way for her to get around that. I don't care who she picks.
Mr. Chairman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Maria.
Chairman Arrington joining us in D.C. Stay with us. We'll be right back.